Hi, welcome friends to this series on UFOs and aliens. Uh, there are a lot of things going on in our world, in our universe that we do not understand. And there are a lot of speculation and sometimes superstitious beliefs and also conspiracy theories. So that it's all mingled up, and sometimes we find it difficult to ascertain the truths or the realities of these things. Some of those things are what we call the UFOs and aliens. UFOs and aliens, or UAPs and aliens, or extraterrestrial beings. So what are UFOs and aliens? Now, the term UFO just means unidentified flying objects. Unidentified flying objects. The military, actually the Pentagon, renamed them unidentified alien phenomena, UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena. Now, on the other hand, we have what we call aliens or extraterrestrial beings, all right? So the unidentified aerial phenomena, or UFOs, unidentified flying objects, refers to objects. They are ships, like vehicles, machines that have been observed flying in the air at speeds and with certain maneuvers that are impossible for humans to create. All right, so these machines have been observed flying in the air. They take all kind of forms. Sometimes they're like round, like egg form. Sometimes they are triangular, sometimes they are cylindrical, but they are all over there, observed by telescopes, sometimes by pilots and military and civilian pilots flying their aeroplanes in the air, and they baffle the intelligence of human beings, because they do some maneuvers in the air that human aircrafts cannot perform. All right, so those are the UAPs or UFOs. These are machines. On the other hand, aliens, what we call aliens, are the beings, certain creatures, certain beings that look like humans who occupy those machines. These are the ones we call aliens or extraterrestrial. Extraterrestrial simply means that they don't belong to the earth. And the same term, alien, it means they are alien to our earth. All right, so UFOs and aliens refer to beings. Okay, they are, let me say, creatures. For those of us who believe in creation, they are creatures that look like human beings. And for all the reports that you've received and the photographs and the images that you've received, they are far more shorter, or they look a lot more smaller than human beings. But on the other hand, they have far more wisdom, far more technological development than human beings. Okay, so that's what is called the UFOs or aliens. But are these things real? Are UFOs real? UAPs, are they real? Aliens and extraterrestrial beings, are they actually real? First of all, let's look at certain historical facts. Since the 1940s, up to date, civilians, military people in the United States, in Europe, in Russia, in Canada, in South America, and many parts of the world have been observing ships or aircrafts, machines flying in the air, in the sky, which they have not been able to identify. At first, the Russians thought it was the Americans. The Americans thought it was either the Russians or the Chinese. But of late, most governments have come to realize, to accept that these are not human machines. The technology on Earth is not up to the standard of the aircrafts that the aliens use and which they bring to our airspace, and which our military pilots, civilian pilots, and military people observing with telescopes, as well as millions of ordinary people on Earth have seen since the 1940s. Now, some of these ships have been proven to be carrying aliens, carrying living beings who look like human beings, but they are far smaller than human beings. Their shapes are not, different from the shapes of human beings. Sometimes they have a very big head, big eyes, with different angles than those of human beings. Sometimes they are seen in certain scientific suits and other things. And some of these aircrafts have been found to be occupied by such aliens, such beings. I don't want to call them human, because they are not human. They are humanoids. That is, they look like human beings, but they are not human. But what everybody agrees on, all these nations agree on, is that their technology is nothing that humans have ever created. They are far more advanced in their technology. Most people, however, particularly in Africa and other less developed countries, know nothing about UFOs and aliens. In fact, I've been doing seminars in many parts of West Africa. I've also done seminars in Europe and in America. And I realized that, particularly in Africa, the majority of people, even educated people, know nothing about aliens. Those who know see them in films, in movies, and just consider them, dismiss them as, one of those things that, one of those, how do you call it, fictitious or fiction, science fiction. Okay, they dismiss them as science fiction. Other people, especially the Christians and particularly pastors, dismiss them as non-existent. Some people say, these are white people trying to just throw dust into our eyes. But the few who believe that they exist say they are demons. That's all that the pastors who know about UFOs and aliens say. They are demons. That's what they say. They are demons. But are they demons? What most Africans see, actually, as I've said, in Africa, up to date, I've not heard of any report of the sightings of UFOs or aliens by Africans. Of course, Africans see terrestrial and aquatic aliens like dwarfs and mamiwata and so on and so forth. All right. But the kind of flying machines and their occupiers that are reported by the West is not yet reported in Africa. I've not yet heard it. All right. What most Africans see are aeroplanes. When Africans look up in the sky, they see the stars, they see the clouds, they see aeroplanes. Sometimes they see shooting stars, we call it the shooting stars, and they see witches. They are not yet very much aware of UFOs and aliens, right? Most pastors, as I've said, say they are, not most pastors don't even know. According to what I've discovered in my seminars with pastors, I ask the question, have you ever heard about UFOs? They say, what is that? The majority of Christians, especially in Africa, have you ever heard about UFOs? They say, what is that? And as I've said, those who have any idea about them only see them or saw them in movies and classify them as science fiction. But we want to discover. I want to take you on a journey. And I want to, first of all, let you know that I've been doing research on UFOs and aliens for the past 10 years. I have had the opportunity to study, to research, to read, to discover certain things that pertain to these UFOs and aliens that you will not be able to know unless you have time and the facilities to research. All right. It is like this. We have sound waves and audio waves and video waves, okay? Audio waves and sound waves and light waves, frequencies that are all over in the air. You sit in your house, you are in the farm, you're on a farm, you are wherever you are. You have no idea that there are sounds around you. Your ears cannot hear them. Sometimes dogs hear certain sounds at certain frequencies that human beings are not capable of hearing. Bats that fly in the sky, they also have the capacity to hear sound at very, very high frequencies that human ears cannot hear. So the fact that you're not hearing anything doesn't mean that there are no sounds. The fact that you are not seeing anything doesn't mean that there's nothing to see. Now, if you're standing somewhere or sitting somewhere, you may not see anything or hear anything until you have a machine that will be able to capture the sound waves. A machine such as a radio. You put the radio there and you begin to tune and you begin to catch a lot of sound waves that you otherwise cannot hear. They've been there all along, but you are not able to hear them because you didn't have the apparatus to capture them. In the same way, you put a television there, you put an antenna, and you begin to capture video waves. You begin to capture, pictures from different places. You begin to see them. You couldn't have seen them if you didn't have a television or some equipment, some video equipment. That's the way it is. In Africa, we don't have the equipment to look into the sky to be able to discern these things. We can only see the things when they are on earth, when we see them in the sea, in water, or they are very close. So in Africa, we've not seen reports of UFOs and UAPs, but that doesn't mean they are not there. Now, those who conclude that there are demons, are they really demons? Because if you want to find out what a demon is, you would, of course, there's controversy even in the church, in theology. There is controversy about who demons really are. The Bible just tells us that there are demons. The Bible doesn't explain what demons are. But the Bible gives us some stories that if you follow and you want to research more, you'll be able to find out what demons really are. But demons are generally explained or defined as spirits, disincarnated spirits. Disincarnated spirit, that is spirits, beings that have been stripped, their bodies have been stripped off, and it's left with their spirits. Disincarnated, carnal, the flesh has been taken away, and it's left with only their spirit, only the spirit. I don't want to go into that. That would be another topic altogether concerning demons. So if you go into Bible studies and theology, most people would say that demons are disincarnated spirits. If there are disincarnated spirits, then UFOs and then aliens cannot be demons, because aliens come with their own bodies. They come with their own bodies. Their bodies may not be like human bodies, but they come with their own bodies. Demons don't have their own bodies. Demons have to necessarily enter into another body to operate, to operate among human beings. They have to possess. That's what we call possession. They have to possess a body. It can be an animal. It can be, a human being. It can even be plants and trees. Yeah. All right. So demons, UFOs, aliens are not demons. What about, we say, fallen angels? There's controversy there too. Are they fallen angels? Well, we'll look at all these questions more deeply at the conclusion of this teaching. What aliens really are, what UFOs are in reality. Now, so are they real? Are they there? Are they fiction, science fictions? If they are not there, then what are all the governments of the advanced countries reporting? They are reporting it. Ever since the 1940s, we would look at the history of UFOs and aliens, and you would realize that since the 1940s, the advanced countries have been observing them and reporting. But you see, when you come to those of us who believe in the Bible, who are Christians, the Bible even says that in Genesis 1:14, and God said, "Let there be lights in the vault of the sky to separate the day from the night, and let them serve as signs to mark sacred times and days and years." So we see the stars up there. We just say they are stars. The scientists say they are burning gases. We also see meteorites. We see other planets, and we don't know what they are. Science are still how do you call it? Scientists are still trying to find out the different bodies that we see in the sky, which we just call stars, and what they are. The Bible says that God created them and put them there up in the sky to give us a separation between day and night, and also to serve as signs that will mark sacred times and days and years. For instance, the Magi, or what we simply call the wise men, at the birth of Jesus Christ, wise men came from the east. We normally say 3 wise men. No, the Bible doesn't say there were 3. They gave 3 types of gifts: gold, myrrh, and frankincense. So it was 3 gifts, but not 3 men. There could be more. There could have been more than 3, right? The Bible says they came from the east, and they came and reported to King Herod that they had seen the star of the Messiah, and that they had come all the way from the east to Jerusalem to find out where the Messiah was born. Now, they said we saw his star in the east. They saw a sign, like the Bible says, sacred signs in the sky. Sacred signs. So they saw a certain star that they were able to identify as communicating a message that the Messiah, the King of the Jews, Israel, that's what they thought, had been born. And they followed the star all the way from the east to Jerusalem. I think when they arrived in Jerusalem, it seems as if the star, they couldn't see it any longer. So they went to the only place, the natural place that a king will be born. They went to Herod's palace and said, "Where is the newborn king?" Herod didn't know what they were talking about, but he quickly called the scribes and Pharisees who knew the scriptures. And then they told him it will be in Bethlehem. The Messiah was supposed to be born in Bethlehem in Judea. So King Herod told them to go and look for the newborn baby, the newborn king. All right? And that if they found him, they should come back and report to him so that he also would go and worship him. The Bible says that's in Genesis, in Matthew chapter 1. Yeah, Matthew chapter 1. And you see the whole story in Matthew chapter 1 and 2. When they came out of the palace, they saw the star again. And they were so happy. They followed the star. The star led them to Bethlehem and stood over the house where the manger, where the how do you call it? The shed where Joseph and Mary were with their newborn baby Jesus. All right. So they saw a sign in the sky, and they were able to get specific information from that sign. We also read in Luke chapter 21 verse 11, when Jesus Christ was talking about 2 important events: the destruction of Jerusalem and the end times. Jesus was talking about the destruction of Jerusalem and the end times. And he was talking about the signs that would let us know that Jerusalem was going to be destroyed and that his coming, the second coming, was near. And this is what Christ told them in Luke chapter 21 verse 11. There will be great earthquakes, and there will be famines. Famine is hunger. And plagues, pandemics, in many lands, and there will be terrifying things and great miraculous signs from heaven. This is Jesus Christ explaining to the disciples the things, the events that were going to precede the destruction of Jerusalem and his second coming. He says that there will be great earthquakes, and there will be famines and plagues in many lands, and there will be terrifying things and great miraculous signs from heaven or in the sky. Now, we know, those of us who are into research know that God gave the Jews signs in the heavens and on earth that indicated that Jerusalem was going to be destroyed in 69 to 70 AD. God showed them signs. God actually was gracious. 4 years before the destruction of Jerusalem, God showed them many, many, many signs. And if you read the report of historians, the Jewish historian called Josephus, other historians as Hegesippus, Philo, who were not Christians, they were just historians who were there when Jerusalem was being destroyed, especially Josephus. He wasn't a Christian. He was just a Jewish historian, and the Romans absolutely had trust in him. So they actually took him to document their destruction of Jerusalem. So he put everything into writing and presented it to the Roman government. If you read the history, the history recorded by Josephus and Hegesippus and Philo and all these historians, you will see that the words of Jesus Christ, the prophecy of Jesus Christ concerning what was the signs that would happen, and the actual events that would take place during the destruction of Jerusalem, you realize that they came in what some people call ditto in details. Every single word that Jesus Christ said in Luke 17, 19, 21, Matthew 24, all these were fulfilled. All right? But the signs that God gave to Israel, the nation of Israel, before the destruction of Jerusalem, one of the signs was a comet, a star, a small star, or a comet that had transformed itself into a sword, hanging over Jerusalem for whole, a long period of, if I'm not mistaken, about 3 months. It was hanging there, a sword looking down on Jerusalem, a star, a comet that had transformed itself into a sword in the sky, looking down on Jerusalem. Some of the scribes, the wise scribes, interpreted that sign as a sign of doom. But because they didn't believe in Christ, they didn't believe his words, they couldn't link it to what Jesus Christ said, that Jerusalem was going to be destroyed. There were other signs on earth. I'll pass on those signs. But particularly, I'm talking about the signs in the heaven. There were other times when the whole population in Jerusalem witnessed armies on horses, chariots, on the clouds, surrounding Jerusalem in the air. That was another sign in the heavens. So from the year 65 or 66 up to 70, after the destruction of Jerusalem, God was showing them a lot of signs in the heavens, on earth, and in the sea. But they did not pay heed, did not recognize. Of course, the Christians who believe in Christ saw these signs. They ran out of Jerusalem before it was destroyed in 69, 70 AD. Okay, so could these UFOs and aliens be signs from heaven? Could they be God warning the earth, warning people about certain catastrophic events that are about to happen? Just like before the catastrophe, if you read the history of the destruction of Jerusalem, you'll be shocked. You'll be shocked at the catastrophe that took place in the year 69, 70 AD. The signs were there. They didn't pay heed to the signs. Now we are seeing these UFOs and aliens and all that are being reported all over the world. Could they be signs? Could they actually be signs? God giving us signs from heaven? Now, let us look at the historical occurrence of some of these things. Now, during the 1940s and throughout the 1950s, UFOs were often referred to as flying saucers. That's how people call them flying saucers, because the first time people saw those machines in the sky, they looked like saucers, like a plate, and another plate covering that plate. Okay, like two plates, a plate with its covering, a saucer. And they saw them flying in the sky with terrible speed and maneuvers, operating with certain maneuvers that were very strange to human beings. All right. Now, so these unidentified flying objects or unidentified area phenomena were seen, since the 1940s. The sightings increased every year, and all over Europe and the Americas. The governments were recording the sightings, the military were reporting, and they were being recorded in the classified documents of many of the governments of the world. Right. But scientists and many governments dismissed them. People saw them, reported them. Even military pilots had close encounters with flying objects that they described to the tower, to their centers. They described the way they were flying, the lights, the multi-lights. Sometimes they were red, blue, green, all kinds of lights. The maneuvers that they were operating in the sky, they described them. Sometimes civilian pilots also reported. People on the ground saw them in many instances. They reported, but often they were dismissed. The governments of the world dismiss them. Scientists dismiss them, because anything a scientist cannot explain by by his tools, scientific tools, and scientific knowledge, they dismiss. So scientists dismiss them, and some scientists are still dismissing them up to date. But now, you can no longer dismiss them. You can no longer dismiss them because it's all out now. They are only trying to give different explanations. They could be balloons, they could be aircrafts, they could be what we call noctilucent clouds, Mercurius clouds, astronomical objects such as meteors and other things. They are all kind of expression. But today, all the military people, all the people who are researching these things, including Pentagon, the Pentagon has been forced to admit that between 5 to 20% of all those things observed since the 1940s cannot be explained. They try to hide the truth. They try to explain away the phenomena. But they had to accept that between 5 to 20% of the sightings reported are still unexplained. They cannot explain them. Now, on April 14th, 1561, what we call the Nuremberg experience happened. There was an appearance of a large black triangular object. According to witnesses, there were also hundreds of spheres and cylinders of other odd-shaped objects that were flying erratically in the sky. But people saw, the residents of Nuremberg saw a huge triangular object, black objects, floating in the sky. This was one of the earliest sightings. Of course, the sightings started as far as the 1940s, but this one in 1561, of course, 1561 is earlier than 1940. Okay, so 1561, some of the earliest sightings, April 14th, 1561. We call it the Nuremberg experience. The residents of Nuremberg saw these black objects. It had lights. It was huge, and it was flowing over this, the city in the sky. Then on January 25, 1875, the Danish daily newspaper printed an article which John Martin, a local farmer, had reported, seeing a large, dark, circular object resembling a balloon flying at a wonderful speed. Martin, according to the newspaper, said it appeared to be about the size of a saucer, the first known use of the word saucer. Then we have the USA airship sightings. In April 1897, thousands of people in the USA reported seeing airships in various parts of the United States. Many signed affidavits. Certain people actually signed affidavits to say, yes, I saw this, it's true, I'm not lying. They signed affidavits to say that they saw those objects flying, and thousands of people in the United States saw them. We call them the USA airship sightings. That is in April 1879. Now we have the USS Supply Crew sightings. On February 28, 1904, there was a sighting by 3 crew members of the USS Supply about 300 miles west of San Francisco. And one of the 3 members of the crew was Lieutenant Frank Schofield, who later became Commander-in-Chief of the Pacific Battle Fleet. Schofield wrote 3 bright, Schofield, Schofield or Schofield, however you want to pronounce it. He said they witnessed 3 bright, egg-shaped and circular objects flying in echelon that approached beneath the clouds, then changed course and soared above the clouds. So this was, these were military people who actually saw these objects and reported on 28th of February 1904. Now, as I said, the earliest known sightings were from the 15th century, 16th century. People had been observing these things, but they were not as frequent as they are today. There were about 1,305 sightings recorded by what we call the NARCAP, NARCAP, in 1926, 1916 and 1926, between these 10 years, there were about 1,305 sightings that were recorded. And over the years, these increased, and the governments of the governments of Europe, such as Belgium, France, United Kingdom, Germany, and Russia, even Russia, since a long time now, they actually made public their classified information, classified documents concerning UFOs. These classified documents, they included both civilian and military sightings of UFOs over several years. Military people flying military planes had encounters with the UFOs. Civilian planes had encounters with them. And as I go on, you get to know that even, today, in America, this year alone, there's about over 6,000 sightings of UFOs. If you go to the CNN, it's almost a daily report. There are daily reports about the sightings of UFOs in the United States, in other parts of the world. Okay, so they are there. There's something out there. On August 5th of August 1926, there's what we call the Nicholas Roerich experience. Nicholas Roerich experience. This man, this Russian explorer, Nicholas Roerich, while he was traveling in the Humboldt Mountains in Tibet, in the Kokona region of Tibet, he reported seeing some shiny reflections in the sun, like a huge oval moving at great speed, crossing the camp where they are and changing directions from south to southwest. They didn't know what it was. They just recorded what they saw. And in all these sightings, one thing that is common is that the airships operate maneuvers that are impossible to any human aircraft. The way they are able to zigzag in the air. Some reports stated that these objects they just bumped out of the sea and flew at straight right angle, straight up, with the speed of lightning. No human aircraft, no military aircraft, no military machine can operate like that. Both in the sea, on the sea, and in the air. All these have been reported. So, as I was saying, Sweden, Belgium, the UK, Germany, Britain, they all reported. But meanwhile, the United Nations, United States of America continue to say, no, 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 it's not true, it's not true. The United States continued to dismiss all these things until 2014, when the Senate actually asked the Pentagon to look into the matter of UFOs, because the reportings were all over the world. And you know what? There are people who dedicated themselves to research on UFOs, and they were going and contacting people who really saw them, who really saw these sightings, and some even who claimed that they had been abducted by some strange beings, operated upon, and brought back. Some of these people have been interviewed, they've been taken to hospitals. The doctors saw some lacerations on their bodies, they saw some radiations on their bodies. But again, because there is no concrete proof, no one can put an alien there and say, look, this is an alien, we've seen him. Even though there are, again, speculations concerning Area 51 and Area 52 in America. You know, you can Google Area 51 and Area 52, and you'll get to know what they are about. These are secret areas in the United States where only a few people are permitted to visit. That's where the United States do a lot of their training, the development of new technology and other things. There are speculations, there are conspiracy theories, but there are also military officers who work in Area 52 who confessed before they died that they actually saw aliens working in Area 52, working with certain American soldiers, teaching them to create certain aircrafts that would have been possible for human understanding, would have been impossible for human understanding, right? So I know of 2 army generals, army officers who are working in Area 52, and it's up there. If you want to research, you can find them. I'm not creating this story myself. They confessed before they died. Journalists went and interviewed them, and they actually described the aliens. They saw the aliens. They worked with them in Area 52, right? So all these nations that I'm talking about release their classified information, classified documents concerning the sightings, concerning what they know about aliens, what they know about these flying objects. The United States continued to refuse to reject until 2014, when the Pentagon actually came out. And particularly last year, 2022, they came and reported to the Senate that, yes, there is something out there. For the first time, the Pentagon accepted that there's something out there that we don't understand. We don't know who they are. But we see them with aircrafts that cannot be created by human level of technology, human level of wisdom cannot create those machines. And the way they maneuver in the sky, if humans were in those aircrafts, the humans would die. They cannot survive. The zigzagging, you know, the speed at which they go, the angles at which they fly, the sharp turns, you know, it is not possible for any human being on earth to survive in those aircrafts. But we also know that there are humanoids or the other beings who look like human beings. They're not exactly like us, but they have their own bodies that are not like our bodies, who occupy these aircrafts. There have been reports of some of these aircrafts crashing, and people have gone to collect even some parts of the aircraft. And according to speculation, and according to what some army generals have confessed, the Area 51 has certain parts of UFOs, these airships used by the aliens. They have certain parts that they are trying to reverse engineer, trying to see if they can create, trying to find out what materials they are made of and if they can recreate them. Of course, as I've said, these are speculations, and already we have a religion that has come out of that. We call it UFOism. 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 People are already beginning to worship these UFOs. Some of you are sitting out there saying that they don't exist. You don't even know about them. But there's a religion already created. There are people worshiping UFOs. There are people preparing to be taken by UFOs to heaven. There are religious cults who say that the airships will come and pick them. So some of you are out there totally ignorant about them. Others are dismissing them because we don't have the time. Sometimes it's just that we are too lazy to research, or we don't have the means to research. But those of us that God has given the grace to have the knowledge, to have the skill of research, and also to have the means to research, what we can do is to do the research and bring them out to you. And what you can do is just to listen to us and judge by yourself and find out what we're saying, if it's true or not. Right. So the US has finally come, and the Pentagon has finally come to accept that there is something out there that we cannot explain. Why are all the governments of the world afraid? The governments of the world, powerful governments of the world, are afraid. Why? Because nobody knows where they are coming from. Nobody knows where those aliens are coming from. And the technology, the aircraft they are using, supersedes anything any government on earth, any scientist has ever created. So if these people are coming, why are they coming? And why are the sightings increasing? As I've said, in the US, more than 6,000 sightings. Almost every day people see them. And there are people who have their, telescopes and other gadgets who are always hunting for them. There are people who are continuously doing research about them. And the pressure that those people, their research findings, have put pressure on the governments of the world to come out with the truth concerning UFOs and aliens. And that's why today we have CNN reporting almost every week. There's a report about aliens, about sightings. We are not alone in our universe. We are not alone. Sometimes human beings, we are so, we are so ignorant that we think that this whole universe that is there, we are the only intelligent beings. No. If you look into the Bible talks about principalities and powers in the heavenly places. The word heavenly place just means in the sky, in the firmament. They are there. Are they those in the heavens there? Those principalities and powers and the spirits, spirit beings, are they demons? No. They are spirit beings. The Bible talks about spirit beings. Apart from angels, there are other spirit beings who do not come. Normally, they don't visit us. They are not like angels. Angels are messengers sent to human beings. But they don't come. Like, for instance, the seraphs or the seraphim don't come to human beings. The cherubim don't come. And the description of the airships that these aliens or extraterrestrial beings use, the description of the way they flash the speed of lightning, can only be compared to what we see in the Bible in Ezekiel chapter 1 and Ezekiel chapter 10. Ezekiel chapter 1 and chapter 10 describes the machine in which Yahweh came, the vision that Ezekiel saw. So first of all, it was like the clouds glowing with light, and then suddenly within the clouds, he saw this metallic objects. And then as it came closer, he saw beings. Each being had 4 faces. The face of a man, the face of a lion at the right side, the face of an ox at the left side, and the face of an eagle behind. So each cherub or cherubim, each cherub had 4 faces. Their feet were like the feet of an ox, and they had 4 wings. Each of them had 4 wings. In fact, in Revelations, we are told they had 6 wings. So some have 6 wings, some have 4 wings. And under them are wheels, huge wheels. And the wheels, there are eyes all around the wheels. And the cherubs, there are eyes on their wings, inside their wings. And on top of them was a throne that, Ezekiel described as a throne made of lapis lazuli, the lapis lazuli throne, on which was seated the Ancient of Days, right? And according to the description of Ezekiel in chapter 1 and chapter 10, this machine on which Yahuwah rode, the speed at which it went was lightning speed. It just flashed. It could flash, left and right, up and down, in such a way that no human imagination would be able to catch. Right? So today, the people who are doing research on UFOs will simply describe the experience in Ezekiel chapter 1 and Ezekiel chapter 10 as a UFO, unidentified flying object, or unidentified aerial phenomena. Right. So we have a lot of them in the Old Testament. For instance, the chariot that came and took Elijah to the sky. The chariots of fire that appeared in the sky, and Elijah was, taken up and into that chariot, and they took him away. In today's language, they would say they are unidentified aerial phenomena. As I told you, before the destruction of Jerusalem, the people in Jerusalem saw chariots, horse riders surrounding Jerusalem. They saw them in the sky, and they were surrounding the city of Jerusalem. Right? So, today it's no longer speculation. It is a reality. For those of you, especially in Africa, who know nothing about UFOs or UAPs and aliens, today it is no longer speculation. It's no longer conspiracy theory. The Pentagon has come out to say, yes, there is something out there we do not understand. We don't know what they are. But for people who study the Bible, people who critically study the Bible, and you want to take your time to study the Bible and compare what is being reported today, you will see that it's no new thing. It's no new thing at all. The Bible has been reporting these things over many years, many centuries. And if you go into other cultures like India, you know, the Indian ancient writings, they reported long time, many centuries ago, seeing, you know, objects like that flying in the sky with very detailed descriptions. In many cultures of the world, they experienced those things long time. It's just that our science rejects everything that they cannot prove in their very how do I say, what word should I use? It's primitive. All the scientific equipment that we have today are primitive. We cannot even see a spirit. No scientific machine can see a spirit. So they are primitive. In Africa, people see dwarfs. They talk about, and today there are a lot of people in the Western countries who think dwarfs, you know, these are all what? They are all fake, or they are all, untrue stories. They are stories made up. No. They are real. Spirits, like dwarfs, are teaching people to do things. In Africa, before Western medicine came, dwarfs were teaching people medicine. There is this philanthropist, an inventor in Ghana called Safo Kantanka. He calls himself Apostle Safo Kantanka, who has been able to manufacture, helicopter, MOWACs, military machines, cars. And he just went to, he's not a university graduate. He didn't go to university. He actually confesses and says that he receives tuition from dwarfs in the night. Dwarfs come and teach him. You stay out there and say there are no dwarfs, they are not real. The mermaid, Manuata, they are not real. They are real. These are spirits that cannot be seen with the naked eye. But some people are able to see them because they have what it takes to see them. The things that we see are only maybe 1/3 of the things we can see. Even the Bible says that the things that we see are temporal, but the things that we can't see are permanent. They are there. Right? So, UFOs and aliens, they are real. UFOs refer to the aircrafts in which the aliens ride, they fly. And they've been visiting the earth more and more. There are sightings, the sightings are increasing. And you know something? There's a report of one of these the UFOs, flying over the US nuclear, where we have the nuclear station, the nuclear arms, the nuclear weapons. And the moment that UFO hang over the nuclear facility, it demobilized the nuclear facility. Their technology is far beyond that of humanity. They can demobilize every weapon that we have. They can make our weapons useless. So the question the governments of the world are asking is that, are they coming in peace? What do they want from us? Where are they coming from? Who are they? That is what every nation is trying to research and find out. They're trying their best. Nobody knows yet. Of course, as I've said, these aliens, there are hundreds of people who claim that the aliens came to abduct them, came to take them away, take them into their machines, take them to some places, perform operations on their machines, on board their machines, and bring them back to Earth. So, for the pastors who do not have the means of researching, or they have the means but they are not capable of doing research, please don't dismiss these things, because as a pastor, you are a leader. If a church member goes and listens to, watches CNN is talking about aliens and UFOs, and the church member comes and asks you, the pastor, what are UFOs? What are aliens? Don't just tell him, oh, don't mind them. Oh, forget about those, but they're not real. You'll not be an intelligent person. You'll not be a teacher. You'll not be somebody who can help your people. So every leader must be able to make an effort to find out what these things are. I'm continuing my research. I take my time to listen to the recordings of people who are talking about them, who have had encounters about them. I watch the testimony of Army generals in the US who have confessed meeting the UFOs, meeting the aliens face to face. I watched the confession of one other Army general that said they saw aircraft, foreign aircraft in Area 52, that the United States is trying to do reverse engineering. The report from Russia of crashed aircraft, the report from the UK, all the reports are coming in from all the land, Sweden, everywhere. So if all these things are happening and everybody's reporting on them, even the military people, governments are saying it, and you sit there and say they're not real, then excuse me, there's something wrong with you. Then the rapture might even take place before you know that it has taken place. What do I want to say? I simply want to say that what we are calling the UFOs and the aliens could be signs in the heavens, warning us like God warned the people of Jerusalem before the destruction of Jerusalem in 69 to 90 AD. God gave them ample warning. God is so kind. He gave them ample warning, but they did not pay heed. So also, I believe that the sightings that we are seeing, the phenomena that we are seeing in the sky and we can't explain, are warnings that God is giving to us, because he said there will be signs, sacred signs in the sky. That's why he created them. There are sacred signs in the sky, as we are told in Genesis chapter 1 verse 14. And Jesus Christ said in Luke chapter 14 that there will be signs in the heaven, heavenly signs, signs from heaven before he comes. So while the governments of the world are researching these things for military purposes, for looking at the danger they pose to human beings, and other people are looking at them as, just to, for their own curiosity. Other people have made religion out of them. What I can say as somebody, a researcher, and someone, who teaches the Bible as a missionary, as an apostle, is that this could be, I'm saying it could be, heavenly signs. If you couple that with the earthquakes that we have today, if you couple it with the pandemics, Jesus Christ in Luke 21, he said there'll be earthquakes. The earthquakes are increasing. If you're not listening to the news, listen to news. When the Bible says watch and pray, Watch doesn't mean go to all night and sit there and do rababa until the following day. No. What means be informed, be aware, watch and pray. Watch for the signs. Look out. He gave us some signs. If you are looking down, like many people are looking down today, the prophets and the pastors are preaching to Christians and asking them to look down, to grab wealth, money, cars, buildings. That's all that we're looking. But Jesus Christ said, look up. Look up. He told the disciples, when you see these signs, flee, run out of Jerusalem. They were watching. The Christians in Jerusalem, before Jerusalem was destroyed, were watching. So when they saw the sign that Jesus Christ talked about, they said, these are the signs. Let us run out. And they ran out from Jerusalem and went and took refuge in a place called Petra. That's why they were saved. Jesus Christ says, watch out. When you see these signs, then you know my coming is near. Then you know I'm at the door. What I'm saying is that what is being reported by the world governments, by scientists, by research people, reported in the news all over the world about UFOs and aliens could be signs from heaven. God warning the earth, as He did before the destruction of Jerusalem, that catastrophe is coming. Catastrophe is coming. Jesus said, before He returns, these signs will come out. We are seeing the signs in the sea. We are seeing the signs in the sky. We are seeing the signs on earth. This is my position on the UFOs and the aliens. I'm not asking you to believe me. All I'm asking is begin to learn about them. Begin to be aware. Read yourself. Do research yourself. And come to your own conclusions about these things. God bless you.